Welcome to Nice. This is where the World Cup really starts for Scotland.
And fans from all over have come here to watch the game.
I'm Jane, I'm from Dundee and we're here supporting Scotland's women. Come on, Scotland!
We got here yesterday and since then it's just been incredible. Absolutely loving the atmosphere.
I've never been to Women's International or a big women's game. I'd like to see what the atmosphere is like.
So this is where it will all happen for Scotland, the first of their World Cup games against England. This is the Allianz Riviera, otherwise known as the Stade de Nice. It holds over 35,000 people and Scotland are hoping for a big crowd on the night. Sports Scene follows this programme, so now might be a very good time to put that kettle on if you don't want to know today's results. Now, plenty of excitement in the English Premier League today. Champions Manchester City fell 8 points behind Liverpool in the title race. That was after suffering a shock 2-0 home defeat to Wolves. It was a bad day at the office too for Manchester United, who were beaten 1-0 by Newcastle. Matty Longstaff capping an impressive Premier League debut with his winning goal.
Heather Dewar is there too for us now. Heather, is the atmosphere building over there?
Oh, it certainly is. Check this out. We're at the Trocadero, Rebecca. It's absolutely beautiful. Very balmy evening tonight. You probably see the Eiffel Tower in the distance. It's great. We've also got a guy who's playing tunes down there, by the way, so you'll probably hear them very shortly. But it's a great atmosphere here. We'll talk about that later, but first, let's kick off with some news from the World Cup, shall we? As football's world governing body, FIFA, says this year's Women's World Cup in France is on track to be the biggest ever. Scotland are still hoping to qualify from their group despite 2 defeats so far. But just what could this tournament do for the women's game globally? From Paris is our sports news correspondent, Chris McLaughlin.
Solheim Cup on BBC Radio Scotland.
Join me, Heather Dewar, for live coverage across the weekend as the Solheim Cup comes to Gleneagles. The SFA will receive around £600,000 from FIFA for qualifying for their first ever World Cup finals. But will it get invested into the domestic setup? Those looking after that side of things have warned of serious consequences if it's not.
To apply the status quo the next 2 or 3 years would be a travesty.
Scott, both sides have the advantage heading into the second leg in Glasgow, but the Danes go into the match in confident mood. Heather Dewar reports.
Standing ready ahead of a huge night of European football. Glasgow City playing host to the Danish champions. A 2-0 advantage from their first leg, not one they'll want to let slip.
Well, this is where the Champions League encounter will take place, right here at Petershill Park in Glasgow. It's a far cry from the stadium in Bromby, where the capacity is well over 20,000. And the City players will be hoping to use that to their advantage. Well, here we are at the fan zone in Liverpool for the Netball World Cup. It's been fantastic here. The atmosphere has been absolutely terrific. There are a plethora of activities for fans to take part in. There are choirs, there are dancers, there's a pop-up netball court, there's a bar, there's cafes. It really is a superb atmosphere.
Now, female athletes don't often talk about their period or about how it affects their performance, at least not publicly.
Now though, more and more women in sport are revealing how performance issues and injury rates seem to be related to menstruation. Heather Dewar's report begins with her speaking to the footballer Jamie Lee Napier.
Some people don't like talking about their period. They get quite embarrassed, which, it's quite a shame really, because it's a natural thing.
Having a period is a natural part of being a woman, but talking about it publicly and talking about how it affects you is still a pretty rare thing. Athlete Ailish McColgan is someone who has bucked that trend. For those working with female footballers, it is an issue that regularly raises its head.
There's still no concrete evidence to suggest that being on your period can affect you negatively while performing at high level. For some athletes, though, it can have a huge impact mentally. So a brilliant result for Team Europe and a superb day out for the fans, 90,000 of whom poured through the gates here at Gleneagles over the course of the 3 days. But the big question now is, what next for the game here? What next for women and the development of the sport?
I think it's hugely important that we capitalise. This is it. This is the springboard to the next phase of our sport.
This is the Solheim Cup, and pretty heavy it is too. This is what Katrina Matthew will try to bring back home with her once again in 2021. And if she does achieve that, she'll be the first European captain ever to win back-to-back victories. She'll be going with a tried and tested formula, bringing back her vice-captains for 2019, Suzanne Pedersen, Laura Davis and Catherine Imrie. Of course, though, Pedersen ended up playing competing in the event, but she says she's very much looking forward to the role. Matthew has won in America before, but as a player back in 2013 in Colorado. The venue for 2021, the Inverness Club, designed by a Scot. And the North Berwick golfer will be hoping once again that the link with Scotland can prove to be a very good omen for her side. Heather Dewar reporting Scotland, Gleneagles.